How you doing?
Hey, Ken, can you hear me okay over there?
I can hear you good.
That looks like the world's most dangerous podcaster. Congratulations on the launch of that podcast. How long was it from coming up with the idea to actually having it out there?
I think it's probably 6 months, and we launched it, and yeah, just what I do. I just talk about stuff.
Right. It doesn't seem like you have any shortage of things to talk about because you can cull together all sorts of parts of your past. How far in advance do you record your podcast from it coming out?
Oh, sometimes I remember a few of the times we did it live, and then some of the other ones we just while we were doing it live. Then after we were done, then we recorded another one. So we just kind of started doing it, and then of course I got involved with some other people, Mastermind Media, who started jumping in and started taking over some of the editing and started making it a little more professional. So yeah, it was just something I just did at first, and then it started to become interesting and blow up a little bit. So we just jumped on it.
Yeah, so where you're at in your career is very interesting in that people don't just know you from one thing, not just the podcast, not just the UFC legend, but of course we were connected because of Impact, and you're a Hall of Famer now, the rare Hall of Famer who's still an active talent. When you came into Impact, did you know that it was going to be a long-term play?
No, actually, when I go anywhere, I don't really. I'm so focused on the here and now, and I don't look at it past tomorrow. So it wasn't like I went in there thinking that, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But my goal was, when I set out to get back into pro wrestling, was to capture a title. And so it's always been that. Anytime that I got involved with something, it's not like I just say, hey, I'm coming back to pro wrestling because I'm going to do it and see what happens. I came back to pro wrestling because I wanted to make a statement, and I wanted to get back after it and be the best at it again. And so I made that commitment, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, you have a very interesting relationship with Sami Callihan and Impact, and it's been going on for a long time in different facets. Did you ever meet Sami before coming to Impact?
We've crossed paths before, but never really we had an introduction. And so, yeah, it was rough. It was a rough start knowing him because he's cocky, he's arrogant, but he's one of the greatest minds in pro wrestling. I think he's got really a great insight. And at the same time, though, the stuff that he says, even though it may be brass or hurtful or rude or whatever it is, if you look behind it, most of the stuff that he's saying is true. You just don't want to hear it. So, or the way that he's saying it. So it's a very unique individual.
Is it true what he says, that Ohio is the best state in America?
Well, of course it's true. I mean, to him, right? I mean, if he's saying that, he's basically saying to him, right? I mean, so people like I said, read into what he's saying, not what he's saying to you. Read at what he's saying. This is what he believes, and everybody has a right to believe what they want. Right. Doesn't mean it's true, right? But we all take it in this grand fashion that he says everybody else sucks the way he's saying it. But like I said, Jess, you got to slow down and rip through all the brass and the cockiness and listen to what he's saying, right?
Right.
It's something that he feels, right? Don't mean that we all have to feel the same way.
And speaking of states, am I getting you from Reno, Nevada?
Yes, Reno, Nevada. Yep.
Okay. I have had the pleasure of interviewing David Coverdale from Whitesnake, and he's also a Reno guy. Have you ever run into him around town?
I've heard of him, but I don't think we've ever run into each other.
It's interesting to me how much of the Impact roster lives in Nevada, but I think you're the only one that's in Reno.
Yeah. Brian, the Reno Scum, he's from here. So I train with him a little bit.
I didn't make that connection. Reno Scum would have to be Reno adjacent.
Right.
My bad. What was it that brought you out to Reno in the first place? And I asked that because usually wrestlers live in Tampa or places that have direct flights to other places.
Yeah, I grew up in this area. I actually went to high school in Lassen County, Susanville, And then Reno is only 84 miles from there, which is the biggest city near Susanville. So it's kind of like was my backyard where I grew up at. It's a small town, but it's a big city. But it's got all the outdoor sports. It's got winter, fall, spring, summer. It's got all of the stuff that, and to me, it's the unique thing of being able to drive 40 minutes away and be able to ski and hit the ski, and then drive 45 minutes down towards another area and water ski. And so there's all kinds of stuff to do here: camping, hunting, fishing. I mean, it's just a lot of great things to do in Reno, and it has the big city kind of atmosphere and feel, but it's a small city. It's the biggest little city in the world, as they call it.
Biggest little city in the world, not just hyperbole right there. Well, bring it back to Impact. That was really amazing that you had Dwayne Johnson induct you into the Hall of Fame. Was that tweet actually you asking him, or did you ask him offline and then said, hey, I'm going to tweet this at you?
Well, me and The Rock have built a pretty strong relationship while we were at the WWF. You know, we worked with one another for a while, and we had really helped each other really sharpen our skills and grow to where we are able to branch off and do other things in our career. Obviously, I had a career before I went there in the world of fighting, but in pro wrestling, you know, I had done a little bit before that. So going in there and working with The Rock and being able to, you know, kind of help each other grow, I thought we had developed a pretty good relationship. Bret Hart being a guy that was more of a mentor to me. He'd been around a lot longer, and I was able to pick his brain quite a bit on stuff that would help me and also be able to help me and The Rock develop the matches that we had. So I picked Bret's brain quite a bit. And then Mick Foley, just being around him, just brightened up your day, just being around the guy. He never took anything too serious, and it was always a joy to be around. So he stuck out quite a bit to me during my career of just a great guy and a good guy to be around. So those guys were pretty important. And again, those guys, you know, like Stone Cold and The Undertaker and many more others that were definitely very influential in my career and my development. So I was very fortunate to have those friendships and to be able to ask for them to step out, and especially with their busy schedules and things that they've got going on, and be able to, you know, give that induction for me. And I was very grateful for that.
Well, the Impact roster is very interesting, and I've used the word interesting because there's a lot of interesting things going on. And the Impact roster that we look at right now has former world champions. It has people who are homegrown to Impact, just a mix of the best of now, the best of tomorrow, etc. I don't think I've seen you cross paths with the Good Brothers before. Are those folks that you knew on any level?
No, actually, it's the first time I've actually crossed paths at this level with them. And so it was nice to have them there because those guys are tremendous. I mean, their talent is just tremendous. So being able to add them to the roster was just a huge bonus for us, and a joy too, because being able to have them in the ring and do the work that they're doing in Impact, it just elevates us all.
Right. Is there any chance we might see you on a Talking Shop of Mania pay-per-view of some sort? That's not typical Ken Shamrock fare to me, but you have done a lot of surprising things over the years.
Yeah, nothing's out, you know, nothing is off limits to me. If I can do the dick flip, I can do anything.
That's the best way that I could have heard it explained. A question about your bare knuckle promotion. Is it true that Shannon Briggs is headed there?
I'm not sure, but it's a possibility because Shannon, if anybody knows anything about Shannon, Shannon's a bare knuckle fighter. He's also an MMA fighter. He's also a pro wrestler. And he has some of the most tremendous knockouts in bare knuckle. He's a vicious guy. And I don't think he ever got the credit that he deserved within the MMA world because he's fought a whole lot. And he is a really, really tough individual.
Well, hope to see that happen eventually. So 2 quick questions, and then you're a free man. And the first one is, besides Impact, Tuesday nights, every week on Access TV, what's your favorite show on television at the moment?
Oh, dude, without a question, you know, it's got to be The Walking Dead. And then, of course, there's the new one out. I forget what it was called, Tomorrow or The Day, or or it's the new one out. I just put brain
World
dead on
Beyond.
it.
My wife is
The
whispering.
world. Yes, that's it. That's it. Sorry, like I said, I just started watching that. That's awesome. I love that. But yeah, I'm into that stuff because to me, I'm into anything, even the world stuff where the world comes to an end and everybody, has to band together, and then you find out who human beings really are. You got good ones and you got the bad ones, and they end up separating themselves into survival. And so for me, that's the part that's just intriguing to me with those kinds of movies of how we would, and there's a lot, it's predicted pretty well on how vicious people can be when structure falls.
Well said. Well, the closer, any last words for the kids?
Yeah, man, make sure that, and again, it's in these days, man, I mean, it's hard times, but I cannot stress enough about education right now, because the way that things are going now, the children and the kids that are in high school, they're being deprived of a great education. And that to me is not fair.
I couldn't agree more. Well, thank you for doing all the great work that you've been doing for what now, 30 years? Keep it up. Thank you so much for your time, Ken.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Take care.
Likewise. Thanks.
Paltrocast.